welcome to Pulibrus Fireside Chats. Not as good as yours, but you get something. Now, there's really no housekeeping or whatever to get into, so let's get right into the news. First, since it's Pride Month, let's talk about an LGBTQ news, or SAGA news. SAGA's way better than LGBTQ. Fight me on that, bro. Supreme Court says federal law protects LGBTQ workers from discrimination. Federal civil rights law protects gay, lesbian, and transgender workers, the Supreme Court ruled on Monday. The landmark ruling will extend protections to millions of workers nationwide and is a defeat to the Trump administration, which argued that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, that bars discrimination based on sex, did not extend to claims of gender identity and sexual orientation. The 6-3 opinion written by Judge Neil Gorsuch, President Donald Trump's first Supreme Court nominee, and joined Chief Justice John Roberts and the court's 4 liberal justices. An employer who fires an individual for being homosexual or transgender fires that person for traits or actions they would not be questioned in a member of a different sex. Sex plays a necessary and undistinguishable role in the decision, which is what Title VII forbids. That is a good thing. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but go Neil Gorsuch. It's kind of ironic. And Trump went on like a little bit of a hissy fit on Twitter, like, the Supreme Court making up rules and blah, blah, blah. It's like, Trump, come on, dude. You appointed these justices. It's not my fault that the justices disagree with you. These were your choices. Oh, well. Kavanaugh he did what he did best. But, it seems like Gorsuch, I don't know, maybe he wants to be the new John Roberts. And John Roberts wants to be the new Anthony Kennedy. There was also a controversial Supreme Court ruling that Ruth Bader Ginsburg joined the conservatives on, and ruling on a pipeline, and it's like, to be honest, what do you expect? Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in a documentary like the Notorious RBG, is what it's called. She said that she didn't go on the court to be a super liberal judge, but the court evolved so that she became that super liberal judge. It wasn't her moving to the left, it was the court moving to the right. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is probably still the best justice on the court now, but maybe you look at some other justices in the past and you might think some of them are better. Anyways, now let's move on to something about California's delegation to the DNC. You see, usually the delegation to the DNC is, given to the, governor, which in this case is, of course, Gavin Newsom. But you see, since Gavin Newsom wasn't really a superdelegate for Bernie, they don't necessarily want him to lead that delegation. Instead, they want Ro Khanna to do it. Which makes sense. He was one of the leading people who was in charge of the Bernie campaign, and it'll give him more of a chance to, everybody's been saying that Bernie thing, Bernie wants to keep winning delegates, despite the fact that he isn't running anymore, because he wants to, he wants to keep the platform down. He wants to have the ability to make changes to the platform and have a decent amount of showing to make that platform change a reality. And with Ro leading his delegation, that will more than likely happen. He'll at least try. Ro stated on Twitter, if chosen to lead California's delegation, which is Bernie's largest delegate total, he will do everything in his power to make it so that Bernie's platform becomes the DNC's platform. And, I'm still not voting Biden, but, Ro would be a decent thing to do in the whole debacle of all this jazz. Now moving on to the next story, which is another election story. GOP money flowing to Super PAC backing Representative Eliot Engel, documents show. A Republican Super PAC is funding an outside effort to help re-elect Democrat Representative Eliot Engel, locked in a tight primary against insurgent Jamal Bowman. The Super PAC is called Americans for Tomorrow's Future, following in a proud tradition of nonsensically named political action committees. The connections of the GOP are apparent enough that the Center for Responsive Politics lists it as Republican/conservative. The PAC's treasurer, David Stattenfield, is a former aide to one-time Republican Senate leader Bill Frist. Satterfield works now at Huckabee Davis Lickster, a prominent firm that does election compliance and accounting work for Republican campaigns. This cycle, the firm is handling the accounts for the National Republican Senate Committee, National Republican Congressional Committee, and the campaign of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, among a dozen other GOP operations. So, they are saying that they have spent more than $600,000 boosting Engel and hitting Bowman on TV with digital ads, mailers, and paid phone bankings. They have not spent any other money on any other race since taking money from the GOP operation. So, Eliot Engel is being supported by a conservative PAC. If that doesn't make you want to scream, hey, hey, ho, ho, Eliot Engel has got to go, I mean, it's not a good thing, especially considering, like this. I mean, it's a good thing for us to see that, Engel's not cool, but I mean, it's not cool in the sense that there's some people who are literally saying, like, I'm okay with Eliot Engel staying in, and I'm okay with Jamal Bowman beating him. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, bro. No. At this point, literally, it is just Eliot's gotta go. He just does. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's just gotta go. So, now let's move on to the next story, which is the last election story. Then after that is going to be something more important. Okay, so Joe Biden has apparently narrowed down his VP picks. So now it will either be Kamala Harris or Val Demings. Surprisingly, Joe Biden has made literally terrible decisions. Like, seriously. Here's the American consensus on who these two women are. Kamala Harris. Hey, wasn't she the person who got her ass kicked in that debate? Like, didn't she, lose very big in the presidential race? Like, she was considered the front runner by the media, and then she got kicked so bad that she dropped out of the race? And Val Demings? Well, let's just say, America's gonna turn into a bunch of owls because they're just gonna say who. Seriously, Biden made terrible choices. Stacey Abrams would have been a better choice because people would have at least known who she is. She's the person the media touted because of the whole Georgia thing. So yeah, now those are boring stories out of the way. Now here's an actual relevant story that I freaking called. Leaked documents reveal right-wing oligarch plot to overthrow Mexico's AMLO. Mexico's oligarchs and establishment political parties have united to secret alliance to try and remove left-wing President Lopez Obrador from power with help from the media, Washington, and Wall Street. Leaked documents lay out their devious strategy. Some of the most powerful forces in Mexico are uniting in a campaign to try and topple the country's first left-wing president in decades, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and they apparently have the support of Washington and Wall Street. Known popularly as AMLO, the Mexican leader is a progressive nationalist who campaigned to promise to end the dark night of neoliberalism. He has since implemented a revolutionary vision called the Fourth Transformation, vowing to fight poverty, corruption, and drug violence, and has increasingly butted heads with his nation's wealthy elites. López Obrador has also posed a challenge in the U.S. foreign policy consensus. His government provided refugee to Bolivia's elected socialist President Evo Morales, and a member of Evo's political party, who were exiled after a Trump administration-backed military coup. Okay, so here's the first one. June 18th, U.S. government ratcheted up its pressure on Mexico, targeting companies and individuals with sanctions for allegedly providing water to Venezuela as a part of oil for food humanitarian agreement. The Mexican peso immediately dropped by 2% following Trump administration's imposition of sanctions. These opening salvos for Washington's economic war on its southern neighbor came just days after López Obrador delivered a bombshell press speech in which he revealed that the political parties that had dominated Mexico for decades before him have secretly unified in a plot to try and oust the president before his democratic mandate ends in 2024. The forces trying to remove AMLO from power include major media networks, massive corporations, sitting governors and mayors, former presidents, and influential business leaders. According to a leaked document, they call themselves the Broad Opposition Bloc, and they say they have lobbyists in Washington, financial investors in Wall Street, and major news publications and journalists from both domestic and foreign media outlets on their team. In a press conference June 9th, the Mexican government published a leaked strategy document purportedly drafted by the Broad Opposition Bloc titled Let's Rescue Mexico. The AMLO administration said it did not know the origin of the leak. These pages consist of an executive summary of Project BOA, outlining what it calls a plan to action, a blueprint of concrete steps in opposition alliance to take and unseat AMLO. One of the key points of the plan is the following: lobbying by the BOA in Washington to stress the damage of the government of the fourth transformation is doing to North American investors. So, I was 100% correct. I predicted this months ago. I saw all of the, news articles that were trying to, paint AMLO as, this evil dictator, days after he got elected. They were trying to paint AMLO as this evil dictator days after he was elected. They were doing it. Do you know how long they have been trying to, tear down AMLO? They have been trying to tear down AMLO since the beginning of his political career. When he first ran for president, right before he first announced that he was going to run for president in 2006, they literally tried to remove his ability to run for office because he was so popular. Then after that, they rigged the election so that he wouldn't win. Then, when he ran in 2012, they used the media to try and downplay AMLO so that he wouldn't win. Then in 2018, AMLO was just too popular that they couldn't beat him. Then as soon as he won, they immediately got to work to try and get rid of him. Despite the fact that AMLO literally stated, hey, guys, I have an idea. Maybe in the middle of my term, we should have a referendum so that you can vote me out if you guys don't like me. AMLO suggested this. And I'm sick and tired. I kind of fight with a neoliberal. Yesterday when this comes out, but it was Friday. I guess I'll just say. And he was just saying just bullshit stuff. I was just proof? First, he's just yeah, if AMLO is going to be overthrown, yeah, fuck him, he's so stupid, oh, authoritarian. And it's do you got proof? And he doesn't give me the proof of him being authoritarian, oh, guy who curbs free speech. It's well, yeah, but can you give me proof of AMLO doing that? Can you give me actual, proof of that? And then he says, well, can you give me proof of the coup attempt? Then I give him the link that goes in depth about this subject, has verifiable Twitter accounts that explain this, but he's it's propaganda. It's and then he tries to then when I literally say AMLO wants to bring Mexico back to its leftist roots, he literally says see, proves he's authoritarian cause PRI. And I'm buddy, the PRI was not leftist at all. I mean, when I say at all, I mean like at all. They had a huge left-wing base, but, you know, they themselves were not left-wing. And then he says, dude, have you even read a Wikipedia? Open a Wikipedia for once in your life. And it's like, buddy. I have a series on my YouTube channel where I go in depth about literally every aspect of Mexico's politics after the revolution. I've opened more than one Wikipedia page, my friend. And not just on English Wikipedia, Spanish Wikipedia. Then I decided to literally type out the ideologies of all of Mexico's presidents of the PRI. Literally, the only one that's an actual leftist is Lázaro Cárdenas, who is the one that AMLO represents in regards to his ideology. But no, he's really just dismisses it because he's a neoliberal and therefore stupid. And it's actually kind of funny. It's like, dude, why are you trying to ruin this? This party was built for you. Come on, bro. Don't want to take away your biggest accomplishments as neoliberalism. Those are your biggest accomplishments, bro. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to the smaller candidate of the day. His name is Andrew Wildman of the Independent Party of America. Okay, so where's his platform? Dang it, they're YouTube videos. I didn't want to download his PDF, but I guess I have to. Okay. Dang it, they're all YouTube videos. I downloaded the PDF for nothing. I'm going to read the only one that he has on his website. We believe that citizens have a civil responsibility to each other and the nation. In addition, there must be accountability between the government and the people. Today in America, too many cries for liberty and rights, but too often deny the responsibility when it comes to those precious rights. Our economic and social reforms will serve prudently and arbitrarily have the ongoing struggle between haves and have-nots. Pretty cool, but it's stupid. Okay, but maybe he has like a real legitimate platform on his YouTubes that I'm just not seeing because I'm dumb. So yeah, now let's move into the main topic of this video. It is revolving around biggest lefty in the general election, Howie Hawkins. Now, I mean, it seems that Howie Hawkins has officially become the presumptive Green Party nominee. And if you've paid any attention to the online sphere, you'll know there's been a lot of controversy and thrown words being thrown around about. And you may know that I was a part of it. I mean, I was talking about the Green Party primary while everyone else was focused on the Dem primary. I was focused on the Dem Party too, but I was also focused on the Green Party because, I knew, worst case scenario, we're gonna have to go with them. So it's best to see what's going on with the Green Party, just to see, who will eventually be throwing our support to. And there's been a lot of things going on in the Green Party primary. And people have been using this to try and push their own agenda, push their own, whatever. Put an ideal candidate in the forefront. But I'm not going to be talking about all that. I'm going to be talking about specifically everything being levied against Howie. Because there's quite a few things that has been levied against Howie. Some have valid criticisms. some are invalid. So I'm just going to be going over objectively what all of the things are, at least for the most part, and just show you and tell you all about this. Okay, so let's start all the way back in the beginning. Actually, I have to set the stage long before the primary for the Green Party nominee was even considering anything. There was Jesse Ventura, who was speculated to run, and there were quite a few people who were running, like Senator Curry, Ian Schlockman, Dario Hunter was in the exploratory committee phase, but it wasn't until there was a interview that Howie Hawkins did where things started to get interesting. He said that he would be interested in seeking the Green Party nomination if people wanted him to. Then, the Green Party started a draft campaign trying to get him to be the nominee. Prominent Greens were even doing this, like Kevin Zeese, John Mubaraka, even people like Cindy Sheehan and Chris Hedges. They were all trying to get Howie to run for the Green Party nomination. Then, Howie Hawkins announced an exploratory committee alongside many of these people, then officially announced a presidential campaign. Then, the first thing happened. The Green Party Twitter, the official Green Party Twitter, tweeted a pro-Howie image saying, like, "Thank you, Howie, for announcing that you are going to be seeking the Green Party nomination. We're rooting for you." And then Ian Schlockman was mad because he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm running for the Green Party nomination. I didn't get a tweet like that. Unum's running for the Green Party nomination. Where's her tweet? Dario officially announced his campaign not that long ago. Where's his tweet?" So he was like, he accused them of playing favoritism in favor of Howie. And then all the other Green Party candidates got together and signed a letter and sent it to the Green Party saying, "Look, buddy, we just want a fair process." These were coming off of criticisms of the 2016 election that Unum levied against, Jill Stein. And it leads into the next thing. The Green Party has this sort of weird caste system primary. What do I mean by this? In order to get the Green Party nomination, you have to, there are two kinds of candidates who can run for the Green Party nomination. Those officially recognized by the Green Party, and those who are not. And they draw the lines on what's considered a legitimate candidate and what's not considered a legitimate candidate. I don't know when this process began, but I think it began during 2016 or right after 2012, because it doesn't appear that this was the case in 2012 or in 2008, but who's considered a legitimate Green Party candidate is based on certain rules. I think it's you need to get you need to raise $1,000 and get not $1,000, $10,000 or something like that. Not 10,000. It's a low, but it's not completely low. Here's currently who is considered legitimate candidates under the Green Party right now: Howie Hawkins, Dario Hunter, and David Rold. Senator Curry, Kent Misplay, Susan whatever, Chad Wilson, they are not. I've criticized that a little bit because, think about it. Howie Hawkins, reasonable to take his campaign seriously. He's a co-founder of the Green Party. He's been a long-time political activist. Dario Hunter, okay, makes sense. He's the only candidate in the Green Party primary that is an actual legitimate candidate who has won political office before. Unum, who co-founded the Green Party Black Caucus and, ran for president in 2016. And Ken Mespley, who has run for the presidential nomination of the Green Party in every single election since, like, 2004. Yeah, those two, I think, are considered worthy candidates. Like, I mean, if you want to draw a line at, like, Chad or Susan because they are, like, really tiny, that's, fine. I mean, give them a chance to make it to the big boy stage, but you also should, like, let them have the coverage. Like, Green Party Twitter, they should have done, like, a candidate profile. Like, here's Chad Wilson, who has just entered the Green Party presidential nomination. Here's a brief video of him describing his platform to the Green Party voters. That was another thing, ballot access, because certain states had certain different rules. Each state has their own individual rules and who's considered, like, who they put themselves on the Green Party ballot. Some states were fair and were like, just put everybody on the ballot. Some states were not fair. Like, some states said, only put the ones that are officially recognized by the Green Party. Okay, that's somewhat fair. But then there were some states that was like, what? Like the North Carolina Green Party. They're following me on Twitter, I think, but they ain't like 100% pure. The North Carolina Green Party drew a really arbitrary line and stated that Howie was going to be the only candidate that appeared on the Green Party ballot. And it's like, what? That's stupid. At the very least, Dario should have been on the ballot. He was a ballot qualified green at the time. He should have been on the ballot. That's just 100% a fact. Another aspect is Andrea Merida Cuellar. She is Howie Hawkins' campaign manager. And she's Howie's campaign manager, but at least during the early time of his presidential campaign, was still a Green Party co-chair. I don't think she is anymore. Howie stated that she let her campaign, like she ran through her term. But I mean, even if she didn't and here's the thing, she didn't just stop doing her job as co-chair while being the Hawkins campaign manager. She would go to campaign events and say I'm wearing two hats, one as a Howie co-chair and one as the Green Party co-chair. And it's that's a very huge conflict of interest, I'm afraid. It doesn't matter if it's a campaign I like, that's just a huge conflict of interest. Remember, lefties were praising Tulsi Gabbard because they're like, oh, she resigned from the DNC chair so she could endorse Bernie. It was that was a big thing, but Andrea did not do that. I don't know why. She should have, at the very least, resigned. She should have, of that position. That is a 100% fact, though. I'm not necessarily an Andrea Merida Cuellar hater, but a lot of people seem to be online in the Nico House fandom. But I mean, I'm just saying, I gotta be completely objective. I'm not gonna be oh, everything Howie's done is 100% right and these people are wrong, or Howie is evil and I hate every aspect of him. I'm being 100% objective, 100% analyzing this. I'm giving it 100% clear, this is as objective as I can be. I don't have a horse in this race. My horse is whoever the Green Party nominates, unless it's the anti-Semitic David Rold. Now, I know I dismissed the whole anti-Semitic thing about, Ilhan Omar not anti-Semitic, but, I mean, he literally says Zionists did 9/11. It's pretty anti-Semitic. Here's another thing. A person affiliated with the Howie Hawkins campaign tried to get Ian Schlockman to drop out. That is accurate. That is an accurate statement. Now, there is technically devils in the details about this, but let me explain the situation. Kevin Zeese, who is the campaign outreach guy for Howie Hawkins, and is like a prominent Green, he has stated, he was talking to Ian Schlachman, who was a Green Party candidate, and let me just read some of his email. You say you are running. How much money have you raised? How many volunteers do you have? Have you issued any press releases? I see none on your campaign site about current national issues, e.g. Venezuela, Assange, NATO protests, war with Iran. Your last posting was on the mayor of Baltimore more than a month ago. Compare your lack of commentary on national issues with Hawkins' consistent comments about them. By the end of the week, Howie will have visited about a dozen states. How many are you campaigned in? Why are you even running? When you asked why you were running for president after the gubernatorial race, you said you always wanted to run as soon as you were legally able to run for president. That is a terrible, narcissistic reason to run for office. You have no record on which to run. You had a terrible gubernatorial race and a failed city council race. That is not a resume to run for president, and you should be spending these years doing something to build a record for what you stand for and show you're serious about the issues of our time. If you want to run for president, you need to build a record of accomplishments first. 15 years of movement will work to build a record for you to run on, where you are in your 50s and you have your experience that shows your commitment. When we talked, you said you were going to run the campaign like Eugene Debs, but Debs actually had a long history of accomplishments before he ran for president. Your experience is even less than David Cobb had in the disastrous 2004 campaign. You should drop in and endorse Hawkins. He has a long history and deep knowledge on the issues that you can't come close to matching. Indeed, no Green can match it. Greens need a serious and strong campaign in 2020. Hawkins is building a stellar campaign team, raising money to achieve matching funds, a plan for ballot access in every state, and messaging differentiates Greens from the duopoly based on deep knowledge and real-life experiences. So yeah, that's a statement that a Howie Hawkins campaign affiliate sent to Ian Schlachman. Kevin Zeese has talked to me in private. Yes, me and Kevin Zeese did actually interact with each other. And he says that he was doing it from one Maryland Green to another. He was like, I wasn't doing it as a Hawkins campaign manager, or whatever. I was doing it explicitly as Kevin Zeese, the person, talking to Ian Schlachman, the person, not Howie Hawkins campaign man, talking to presidential candidates running against us. And then I said, okay, it doesn't matter your intention on this. Can you at least see optically why this is bad? Optically, this was a bad idea for you to do. You should have not done that. Because, just literally, objectively, that just looks bad. Remember, it doesn't even, listen. If there was an email about Ro Khanna, and he was, sending an email to, Tulsi Gabbard, and then during the primary, he was like, Tulsi, you should just drop out and endorse Bernie. And then Ro's statement would have been oh no, I was just doing it as a member of the House to another member of the House. I wasn't doing it as Bernie campaign manager. It's it doesn't matter your optics, what you were trying to do. You, Kevin, are affiliated with the Hawkins campaign. Well, I don't know if you are anymore, but you were at the time of this incident. You clearly should have known that this would have been at least bad optically. Now, our email interactions can mostly just be summed up as me pointing out basic thing and Kevin ignoring it. I would just say something that's just well, yeah, can't you see optically why this is a bad thing? And he'd be like, nah, I don't see it. That was my intention, though. It's if there were a damning piece of evidence that he was saying yes, we are secretly rigging the election, like, I would share it, but there isn't, so I was just like, there's no point, really. He said to, like, keep the emails on the down low, so I'm not going to reveal anything more than just, like, that gist, because the gist that's worth bringing out. Like I said, if there was, like, anything more damning, I'd say it. The next criticism comes from something interesting Howie did. Howie Hawkins, during an interview with Bring On Nutmeg, who's been making himself known for both bringing these objective, logical criticisms of Howie Light, but also giving noteworthiness to some of the not so good folks. But during the interview, here's exactly what Howie Hawkins said in regards to Chelsea Manning.
But he should not be prosecuted for publishing the leaks from Bradley Manning, or what's he call himself? Chelsea.
That didn't necessarily bode well for some of his opponents, like Dario Hunter and Senator Curry. Like, Dario himself was LGBTQ, so SAGA. I keep forgetting SAGA, even though I'm the one who's trying to push it. But Dario was mad, and a lot of LGBTQ people, again, were mad. And they were like, hey, dude, that's pretty screwed up, Howie. Why'd you do that? And then Howie has stated multiple times, like, he did it because he knew about the case before Chelsea transitioned. So, and he was, like, heavily involved in it pre-transition. So, that kind of makes him, and he's, like, an old man, so he kind of, his brain don't work that well no more. So he's apologized, and I believe him for the most part. It doesn't really seem like he would be like, yes, I'm going to hurt the LGBTQ people. He's just like a dude who puts his foot in his mouth every once in a while. And it's like, yeah, I buy that. Though, when he did it again during a debate, like, when he was trying to apologize for it, that didn't necessarily bode well. Okay, so, here's another criticism, because here's the thing. Now that we're getting to these points, we're going to get into a lot more of the stupid, outlandish stuff that made people like William Pounds not necessarily like me that much anymore, because I will join in with them when they bring up the BSQs. Here's one BSQ. Howie sought the nominations of other political parties. Now, yes, that is true. But does that disqualify him from being the Green Party nominee? No. Because Jill Stein and Cynthia McKinney did the exact same thing. They sought the Peace and Freedom Party nomination, a nomination that Howie sought, but Howie also sought the nominations of the Socialist Party, Liberty Union Party, Progressive Party, all these other groups and parties. Now, they say it's because, Howie is a member of the Socialist Party, and therefore he cannot, and he describes himself as a member of the Socialist Party, ergo, he cannot be a member of the Green Party, ergo, he is disqualified. Yeah, Howie runs in a closed primary state of New York. I guarantee you, if you look at his voter registration, he's registered with the Green Party. He may be a card-carrying member of the Socialist Party USA, but memberships of parties can be defined in a long variety of ways. Are you just registered with the party? Are you a card-carrying member? I mean, Libertarian Party, Ron Paul was a lifetime member, but he's still officially a member of the Green Party. And this reminds me of the time when Washington Examiner tried to get Bernie by saying, like, oh, he was affiliated with the Socialist Workers' Party. It's like, yeah, we know that. His on his Wikipedia page is like affiliation, Green, other political affiliations, Socialist Party. Like, this is something that we know already. He's not really secret about it. He's openly talking about how he's like been a member of like the Liberty Union Party when he was getting off the ground. Like, he's been a part of this left-wing circle for a long time. This is just like legitimately just weird. Why would you use this to try and bring this down? Here's the next one. Howie Hawkins is a Russiagator, ergo disqualified. Now, yes, it is true, Howie Hawkins is a Russiagator. But he's a Russiagator in the sense that he is, like, the most vague way a Russiagator can be. He believes that there was collusion with the Russian government. That's pretty much it. That's it, pretty much it. He believes that there's collusion with the Russian government. But guess what? So did Bernie. Bernie believed that there was collusion with the Russian government. Does that disqualify him? To some people, yes. But technically, Tulsi Gabbard believed in some aspects of Russiagate. Does that mean we disqualify her? No, I mean, of course, if they use this in like a neo-McCarthyist way, that's of course criticism. But they don't. This ties into my next point because this Russiagate thing is used to try and justify this next point. That Howie Hawkins is a war hawk. Like their nickname for him is Howie Hawkins because he's a war hawk. Except for the fact that he's not. Now, here's the thing. They don't believe that for some reason, but it's just objectively true. Look at Howie's platform. He's campaigned on non-interventionism. He's campaigning on non-interventionism. And this is how bad it gets. Like, I was in a debate. I was like talking on Twitter with like Chad Wilson, who's been one of the major like super anti-Hawkins people. He has stated like, oh, Howie Hawkins he said that Syria is justified. I linked him a video of Howie Hawkins saying that we should pull out of Syria. Then he says like, is that from the Howie Hawkins campaign official YouTube? Because they carefully clip clips of Howie Hawkins being good. And it's like, okay, so can you give me a thingy that proves that he's a war hawk? And he even like stated, quote, like, he believes that Syria is a humane, like, justification, like a heroic deployment. He said, quote, humane deployment is what Hawkins said. He then links me a video during a debate, and this is what it says. He literally, like, here's how dumb it is. They cite, like, Hawkins says, like, overall, the Syrian civil war is a disaster and the U.S. should not be involved too heavily in it. But he cites a specific example of one action that the U.S. did during the civil war, the Syrian civil war, where we helped the Kurds stop a genocide and then call that a humane action. And it's like, I mean, he's not wrong. That's just objectively not wrong. Howie said that's a humane action because it is. That's just objective. Another thing that they claim to do is that the Green Party pushed Jesse Ventura out of the running of the Green Party, which is just flat out stupid. the Green Party's fixation with Ventura is so infuriating. You want me to give you an exact timeline of the Green Party and Jesse Ventura's love story. In 2018, Jesse Ventura says, "Hey, I'm interested in running for the Green Party nomination." Green Party says, "Hey, dude, cool. Let's do that." Years go by. Crickets. When half of the Green Party has already pledged they will support Howie Hawkins, he then submits a letter of interest to run for the Green Party, gives an endorsement of the Green Party, whoever they nominate, and then decides that he's not going to run for the Green Party nomination, then announces that he's going to write himself in, and then they're like, "Oh, see, he's doing a secret little thing where if we all run for him in, he will be the Green Party nominee." And I made speculation, but this Jesse Ventura clip from a Primo Nutmeg interview pretty much 100% sums up Jesse Ventura in this whole debacle. This was sent to me trying to prove a point, but it just proved my point 100%.
To get in this race, if I did get in it, I needed a clear path to a nomination. I didn't want to deal with any type of primaries or any of that stuff, because I didn't have to deal with that in Minnesota when I ran with the Independence Party for governor.
You heard that right. Jesse literally just stated that he does not want to go through a primary, which is weird because that's how the Greens choose their nominee. So if he didn't want to go through this process, why is he taking the Green Party nomination? I mean, he's not a candidate. But why would he even be in the consideration for the Green Party nomination? Because this is how they choose their nominees. They hold a primary, and then that decides their nominee. Very few political parties go by just convention alone, and if they do, they're usually too small to actually have a factor. If Jesse wanted to run and didn't want to have to face the primary, Constitution Party runs primaries and they ignore it. Libertarians, their primaries are non-binding, so why don't you see their nomination? It's literally stupid. This whole Jesse talk is literally just the 1952 Democratic primary again. As this Keeper won the primary, and they were just like, we're gonna pick someone who wasn't even running. It's just so stupid. And here's another thing. Another one that's just stupid. This criticism of Howie is just dumb. It's like, this is their criticism of Howie. He has not won a single election despite participating in 24 elections. Do you not know anything about the Green Party, guys? Do you know what he's done to the Green Party of New York? He has made it so the Green Party of New York is literally the biggest non-fusion party in New York. In New York, they hold third parties are usually fusion-based political parties, like the Working Families Party, Conservative Party, Independence Party, whatever. Green Party is the biggest non-fusion third party. They don't run fusion candidates. They run their own candidates. And Howie's gubernatorial bid, specifically his 2014 one, were the ones that showed him rise up to the big points. He literally brought the Green Party of New York way up. But you're gonna ignore that just because he lost. And yeah, how many elections have all of his opponents combined win? Okay, let's see. Let me do the math. 1. And it was as a Democrat. It's just so dumb. I don't get why you're bringing BS arguments when you have some legitimately good arguments. Like, let me give you the last argument that I think is legitimately somewhat notable. Okay, so the Green Party, like, Howie just officially became the presumptive nominee of the Green Party. He won 180 delegates of the 76 that were needed to win the nomination. However, that wasn't always the case. You see, like, not that long ago, it was 189 to get in the nom. But it was changed very recently to 176. Now, to an extent, I do agree with some assessments of it. Rhode Island Green Party and Montana Green Party are not going to be fielding a presidential candidate this year, so I get why it would be lowered a bit. But I don't know if lowering it that amount. Okay. Let's see. I guess technically it could make sense, but it's like definitely suspicious when Howie like literally had like 3 left to get the nom at the time it happened. It was just weird. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about Howie in regards to the objectiveness. Take with it what you will. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or check my articles on the Independent Political Report.